Anyway, here to answer that question.
Our first guest, she is running for Congress, right? And this time in Maryland's 7th District, which happens to be the seat left vacant by the late Congressman Elijah Cummings, R.I.P. Let's welcome Liz Matory.
Thank you for having
Welcome
me.
to the show, Liz.
Absolutely.
So, Liz, the Silicon Valley people not showing up for congressional testimony. What do you think about that?
Well, let's be honest. Congress isn't even showing up for Congress, right? So let's start there.
That is a very good point. Yeah.
So a lot of people know that, Elijah Cummings passed away. I had ran for Congress before. This is an open seat. And as a older millennial, just going to say, we're really frustrated by...
Okay. I'm an older
Is that right?
millennial,
Okay.
too.
I just going to say
You're in
that.
a safe space
Right.
here.
Thank you. Safe space. But, generationally speaking, Congress is totally out of touch. There are people who are there for 20, 30 years and looking at me, who I'm, by the way, going to be 40 next year, saying that I need to wait my turn. Sorry.
Wait your turn.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah, right. Don't ever say that.
Yeah.
And you see like Kamala Harris, for example. Let's be honest. Black women are never supported by a certain party. We are used to be the 90% supporter of. So don't be surprised when in 2014-15, I leave said party and find another greener pasture, because at the end of the day, we are sick and tired of business as usual. People die when we stick to the script.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. And then what I guess both of us want to ask you is, this is not your first rodeo.
No.
This is your third, right?
Third time's a charm.
Yeah. Very persistent.
Yeah, and at the end, I actually graduated from business school at the same time as running for office.
Wait, you have qualifications?
No.
A congressperson with
I have never been a
qualifications?
barista. I was not a bartender like Sandy Ocasio-Cortez. But at the end of the day, like we're always talking about disruptive technologies. Sure. And the one place that we aren't disrupting until recently is politics. And so when I saw like sort of the three generations of poverty in a place like Baltimore or DC or Washington, and you have more black children being aborted in New York instead of being born, what are you supposed to do? When we go back to our conservative values, that's what I found. I was amazingly surprised to know that I'm a Republican, that I'm a conservative, and I was ostracized from a lot of my former supporters.
But let's talk about the problem right now in the
Right.
Republican Party. There's a huge deficit of women. You spoke of the
No way.
problems on the left. How can we empower more women to run as Republicans?
Right. The weird and odd thing about being a Republican now is that we don't do identity politics. So even though we made history last year having 6 women being nominated, black women nominated by the Republican Party, the party didn't really make a big deal about it because we don't do identity politics. However, how are we going to encourage more people to step up, unless we take these bold, can I say it, moves? And that's what I've decided to do.
That catchphrase, ding, 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 ring the bell.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, founding organizations like this, running for office, it's the same thing, but a different, tactic in order to affect the change that we really desperately need.
Okay, but you have an uphill battle, right?
Yeah.
Because the 7th District is notoriously blue.
Yeah, it's a D27. It's all good.
That's a partisan score for
Right.
people who don't know about that.
Yeah.
That means it's deeply blue.
Right, but there's a lot of Reagan Democrats. It actually is mostly conservative, suburban, and rural. It's one of the most gerrymandered districts, gerrymandered states in the country.
Is it a very interesting shape?
Yeah,
You
it's
should make
it's
a
like
necklace with that
yeah,
shape.
it's like a duck. It's like a duck spreading its wings. Yes.
So it's not gerrymandered, it's duck-mandered.
Duck-mandered, right.
Yeah.
And so, because I've spent so much time on both sides of the aisle, being an activist, a lot of people actually know me. And, at the end of the day, if we are going to get more people who are, registered or not registered, a lot of them are independents, this is an opportunity for us to support conservative values with a wider audience.
Okay. And then if you were to get elected,
Yep.
then you would represent the wider district, including the city of Baltimore.
Absolutely.
Specifically, can you tell me what can you fix for people in the city of Baltimore?
Yeah, you're talking about
and
3
around?
generations of poverty. It's very entrenched at this
Right.
point.
When you think about it, 60 years ago, they forced the government subsidies on a community. They hired 10,000 people to encourage people to get on welfare. So that mentality, breaking that mentality, is really what we need to go head on. Say that, as individuals, as American citizens, we are the strongest citizens ever created on the face of the planet. Just knowing that brief spark of knowledge can affect so much change.
So what do you want to encourage? Do you want to encourage individual empowerment through
Absolutely.
entrepreneurship instead of government dependence?
Well, how about the fact that we focus on school and focus and graduate and tap into your God-given potential? Step one. Make sure that you can, focus on your growth, not get into disruptive, difficult relationships, and really invest in what you can offer to community. From there, entrepreneurship on.
Okay. I mean, how are you planning on doing that? Because, teachers are underpaid and students are like, I'm not even sure this is worth it. I'm investing my time, investing money into my education, but I'm not even sure that one day I'm going to get any payback because of that. How do you bridge that gap?
Well, it's talk about consumer choice, right? We're really big on school choice. Black families are notoriously supporting of school choice. A lot of my friends have gone to homeschooling because they are absolutely frustrated about the public school system.
Which I imagine are a mess in your potential district.
Yeah,
correct?
it's a hot mess, unfortunately.
I mean, this is a huge barrel of monkeys that we probably don't have time to open, but
Yeah.
why do you think people of color are so interested in school choice, and why do you think the Democratic Party is completely rejecting that right now?
Yeah, well, the teachers union runs the party. At the end of the day, the teachers union, Planned Parenthood, these special interest groups pay to play. And when you're a parent, regardless of what color person you are or where you're coming from, you want the best for your child. And so at the end of the day, every mama bear and papa bear is going to want to be like, okay, I want the best for
We
my
don't care
kid.
about politics when
Right?
it's our own kid.
I want my baby, you know what I mean?
Send
To
them
be
to a good school,
good,
of
right?
course,
So
yeah.
that's where it is. It's the heart and the root of the matter of it all. Why we do what we do, why we sacrifice for our families, because we want better for the next generation. And so my generation, our generation, is the first one to not do as best as the previous one. That's unacceptable. So that's why we have to take really drastic measures to affect the change we want to see.
I think Liz might have a political future here.
I do want to ask you to wrap this up.
Yes,
Other
yes.
than what you have already
Right.
talked about
Right.
for our, millennial Gen Z viewers who make up the youngest cohort
Right.
of voting blocks in the
Potential
upcoming
voters.
The largest, potentially the largest.
What issues other than the ones you've already talked about
Yeah.
do you want to tackle for them?
Yeah, fiscal conservatism. The first checks that we get, and we see this huge chunk of money coming out that we potentially might not get when we receive retirement. Let's start there. We are not being conservatives even when we're in office. So that is the opportunity for us millennials and younger people to say, okay, well, we're going to step two and really fight for the principles that we say we're for. This is the opportunity to do so.
Well, Liz, it's been a pleasure having you. Best of luck with your campaign,
good
and
luck.
keep
Thank
us
you.
posted.
Appreciate
Always
it.
like to see more women running.
Thank you.
Yeah.